Okay, so I have about 45 minutes or so now, so we'll talk about self-awareness of your students' traits for learning and thinking as it relates to what comes out of neuro-linguistic programming and their brain mode power. And then some tools for enhancing the teaching process of the learning environment in terms of how can we set up a learning environment when we are either lecturing or allowing them time for a project so that they're in a more comfortable learning place when they're doing those things. And also hopefully to have a little bit of fun. Okay, so what is neuro-linguistic programming? It actually studies the structures of how humans think and how they experience the world. When we're born, we're set up with programming inside of our brains, across our neurons, that is kind of pre-programmed in our subconscious. And then as we live through life, different experiences that we have modify or affect those particular things about programming. So as an example, do you think that we actually learn to be afraid of spiders? Do we learn to have fear of flying? Or is that pre-programmed? It's actually a combination. It's a starting point where something is programmed in our brain. And then as we experience life, it's the connotations we put to that experience. So if we see a spider as a child and our mother goes, ah! We take that and say, oh, I should be afraid of a spider, so I learned to do that. Okay? Sometimes fears are like the fear of flying. Some people just can't explain why. They've never been on a plane, they never want to get on the plane, they're not going to. Or when our children say, I don't like that, in terms of food, and they've never tried it before. So how do they know? They have some other kind of input or feedback that they've gotten from someone else. Big brother may have said, ooh, broccoli's gross. So all of a sudden, little brother says, broccoli's gross. Never tried it, don't know for sure, but it's gross, because he said so, and I incorporated that into my thought process. So that's basically what neuro-linguistic programming is. If we break it down, neuro just refers to the neural network and all of the synapses that are firing in our cells across our brain that sends and receives information that comes in, whether that's by taste, by smell, by sight. And then linguistics is the context or the content that we put around that. So when someone is afraid of a spider and shows that expression to us, or says, ooh, broccoli's gross, and I take that into my brain and put the context around what broccoli looks like equals don't like it, it's gross. And then programming is then the way that we take that information and manipulate it through our lives to either make a positive or a negative connotation to whatever we've started out with our programming. So from the basis of neuro-linguistic programming, the representational system are our 5 senses. And so how our brain gets that information comes through our senses in all of these ways. And from a learning perspective, we're really talking about the first 3. We learn either visually, auditorially, hearing, or kinesthetically by touching and doing. A little bit by taste and smell, but when you think about being in a classroom or in a learning environment, not so much. Okay, the first 3 are the primary.